What's up, everyone? It's your boy Scott. Welcome to the Scott Report, and today we are here for Daemons of the Shadow Realm, episode 4, even though I know I completely missed episode 1. Not 1. I missed episode 2 and 3, and I just wanted to, sit here and say that we're going back to the basics here at the Scott Report, because I just realized I've been doing, content for 10 years now. Wow. That is crazy. So with that being said, I wanted to get back to the basics, get back to you guys actually seeing me on camera besides, me crashing out on Marvel Rivals on Twitch. So we're bringing back the camera reviews. I might go back and forth. I might mess around with some things and probably mess around and you had like a mixture of this and the images. Who knows? We'll just see how it goes. But I needed to get back to you guys because I know I missed 2 episodes and I really want to get locked back in on anime content. So without further ado, let's get back to it. So we're kicking this episode off with Yuru left and right, just getting accustomed to modern life. They're getting set up in a nice little cozy plush modern apartment, and Yuru is just in love with everything that he's seeing there. It's really just like a mansion to him, just being in this place, with fresh tatamis. This was all like a luxury to him. Also, with him learning the differences between things that you can do down here in what they call the lower world and what you can't do. Like, for example, Daru tells him, or Dara, I keep forgetting this guy's name. I think it's Dara, please correct me. But he's telling them, you can't just go out and just freely hunt here. You need a license. So that's the type of thing that you need to do. You need to get a license to hunt, to drive a car or this big metal chariot that you see out there. Yeah, you need to actually get a license to do that. So, just kicking back. It was just like a really nice, cozy episode, at least for the start of it, with them once again just getting accustomed to the life that is there. Hannah also has a dog and cat, and left or right treat them with as much respect as everybody else, which makes sense because if you have pets, you know that pets run the world. They are the root of everything. But yeah, all jokes aside, we actually do find out that they are her Daemons. So even the concept of having a last name is just foreign to Yuru. He's just like, wait a minute, everybody here, you got a last name, you got a first and last name? Are you guys royalty or something? And they're just like, no, that's just how things are here. So it's really interesting. I know we've seen it for a couple of episodes now, but it's really interesting just to see how different these two worlds were. And even though they're peeling back what's going on with these things layer by layer, it just feels good to, kind of see somebody that's kind of a fish out of water in a whole new world with things. And that's like what we got heavily for the first part of this episode. In this episode, we also get to catch up with Asa on her side of things with the Kagamori, as we see her honing her ability as she was shooting at an apple, and she was trying to shoot it in a fine way where it makes just kind of like a thin beam versus her just making destruction like she normally does. So we get to see that as well. And one thing that I didn't get to mention, I had a whole script for episode 2 and 3 and just didn't get to it because life happens to your boy. But one thing that I do like to point out now that I am here in front of the camera and talking about the series again is that Asa and her crew really don't seem like they're too bad of people. Of course, aside them slaughtering Yuru's whole village in order to go and get him, they don't seem like they're bad people on their side of things. You almost see a sibling relationship between Asa, Gabby, and Jin, and they have morals. For example, even though they were slaughtering people in the village, they weren't killing children or anything like that too. So yeah, that's one of the things that I am enjoying about this is the dynamic and the mystery that we have between the two sides, because yes, the darkness is there. There's definitely something going on between the two sides, but they're also taking the time to show each side and kind of build the case that each side is, doing their own thing. It's kind of like Gundam, something I always said about Gundam, in war, how you have that gray area. Yes, these two sides are fighting against each other, but when you get into their world and look at things from their side of things, you see a completely different dynamic altogether, and you can even probably pick either side and probably still be right. And even with Dara, even though he's painted kind of as a protector, it might, at times, I know, it just feels like it's a little bit of shadiness to him. I don't think it's going to be dark, he's going to betray. That would be awesome, kind of. but at the same time, you don't know what's going on because like even the Kagamoris mentioned that the Light and Day twins, which is Asa and Yuru, they need to be kept in their respective places. And if they're not, that's going to ruffle some feathers in this world. So you don't really know who to trust in this. But as far as like the more slice of life and happier things that we got in this episode, like Dara and Hana has taken in Yuru left and right, kind of like their children per se, to the point where they're like, yeah, that's our son now, so we're gonna look out for him. But of course, also having a kid comes with having a kid. Like we gotta clothe this kid, we gotta feed him, we gotta get life insurance if he gets hurt. So it's the little things like that, the little lightheartedness that kicks in that makes this series like a real gem right now. Outside the action that as of right now we just get in spurts and usually towards the end of the episode, but it's like the lightheartedness and getting to know the characters, which is the best thing going forward as well. So Jin is tasked by the Kagomori to actually find Yuru, while Asa is kept safe with the Kagamoris. Also, Dara shaved his face because he was like, they've seen my face now, so I need to get low key. He's mentioned this before, but now we actually see it. He almost looks like a whole new man. That's probably how he looked back when he was doing this dirt, so that's interesting too. Now, in the midst of all this going on, Yuru was kind of snuck out. Like, he snuck out with left and right. He went out on the town, but he's actually looking for Asa. And the Kagomori have multiple demon wielders, and we also know that left and right are really good with not only tracking other daemons, but also like smelling the blood of others. Like that's how they were able to identify that Asa wasn't actually the real Asa. So what Yuru's plot is here is that if these Kagomori people are a unit, they're probably staying together. So if we can find the place that has the scent of all of these daemons and my sister, that's where we'll need to go. Of course, Jin was one step ahead as he actually was able to subdue Yuru after they got to the point and they found where they needed to go, because he used the blood of the fake Asa to lure him in, because more likely that is what Yuru is more familiar with when it comes to his sister. So that is what brought him in. Thankfully, Hana and Daru was able to use their daemons to do this as well. The cat and dog have their own senses where they can seek out kind of where they're going. They're also using modern technology, so one went out onto the town to try to find them, and the other was using a cell phone with GPS to kind of track where they were going. So that was pretty cool too. Like I mentioned before, I think this is going to be a very big cast. There's going to be a lot of characters that we're going to get to know, and it's interesting. And one thing that I really like about this series, and one thing that's really good, is that as far as being a main character, Yuru is very intelligent, and him being a hunter really helps him out in a lot of situations that gets him into the clutch. By him being the twin of the night, he uses that to his advantage in a lot of things. He's definitely one of my favorite MCs that I've seen out of all the stuff in this season so far, besides Wistoria and Will, because he's very smart. And even though Yuru was trapped and the Kagomori, Jin, and his men were there, they didn't appear to have weapons, and that's something that Left sniffed out, but they were hidden inside the Daemons. But even though they had these guns and rockets and everything, Left and Right are literally made of stone, so it wasn't hurting them at all, which was pretty cool, because everything that they tried to do just absolutely did nothing to them. The only thing that seemed to do damage to them naturally, and of course makes sense, is another Daemon. So when the rabbit and the toad daemon came out, they were given left and right to work. But this goes back to what I was saying about Yuru being very, very intelligent, and mad props to him, because he was able to identify that the daemons can be damaged by other daemons. So when he went on the offense and like kind of hit one like with a weapon to distract, that gave Left the time to come in and actually free him by breaking the teeth of the one. And then she was like, this thing isn't as strong as the one that had the other teeth, which is Gabby's daemon. So he's a very intelligent MC. He was able to escape. He was able to knock out the lights above them to make it so they couldn't see, or they have to rely on their senses more. And he actually got the drop on Jin because of this, because when he was in the dark, he was able to cut Jin's legs, subduing them so he can't move, just like a true hunter does, just like how a hunter takes down his prey. And that's something that he always gets props for. Something that they mention a lot is that This guy has the mind of a hunter, and that's gonna get him very far in this series, especially with his dynamic between left and right, and how their relationship is more like family or friends or more respect, and it's not master and demon. See, the Kagomori are always expecting them to move in a sense that these Daemons are just doing what they're told. They're not going to abandon their master. They're not going to leave their side. But left and right have the openness. They have the freedom to do what they want. And these three work together so well that they always find a way to get a drop on things. So that's pretty much turning a bad situation into good, because now Yuru has the upper hand. And even though he finds out that Jin said, yeah, I was the one that attacked your village, he was able to suppress his rage and say, you know what, instead of revenge right now, I want to find out where my sister is. So with that being said, that ends the episode as he asks Jin to tell him, you know, bring my sister here. Use that communication device, that weird thing that you had that with the voices to bring her here. And Jin's like, oh yeah, that's a cell phone, bro. But anyway, that was episode 4 of Daemons of the Shadow Realm. Guys, let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. It feels good to be back. I want to consistently keep up with this. So if I got to show you guys my face again, that's going to get me content out quicker. And yeah, just let me guys know what you thought of this episode. I know some theories that I have for myself and something that I mentioned. I don't think they've directly mentioned it, and apologies if I haven't said it directly, but I think it may end up being a third party that's involved, because again, the Kagomori mentioned that people are trying to capture these twins for their own, you know, means, and there's definitely something with, you know, the child of day and the child of night, and we still haven't really dived into, you know, Asa and Yuru's parents, besides the fact that, you know, they had to stay where they were, and they made the fake Asa because they knew that if Yuru found out that wasn't really a sister, he would leave the village. But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Guys, let me know once again. I know I probably said it like 4 times already. It's going to take a bit for me to get accustomed back to this. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys later. As I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Hit the bell so when I go live, you guys know when I do so. Be sure to follow me on Twitch at The Scott Report and all of that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys next time. So until then, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.